Hello and welcome to this video on exchange rates. In this video we're going to look at what is meant by an exchange rate, the key terms appreciation and depreciation, and look at the effect of exchange rate movements on businesses. Let's start off. What is an exchange rate? When you're off on your summer holidays to Malia, I'm sure an exchange rate is an important part of your planning. Effectively, an exchange rate is the price of one currency expressed in terms of another, i.e., what is the price of euros in pounds when you're off to Malia? If you saw this in a newspaper, that £1 was equal to $1.50, what that would mean is if you sold £1, you would expect to get $1.50. Likewise, if you were an American and you wanted to buy pounds, the price of a pound would be $1.50. It's the rate of exchange between the two currencies. For every £1, you can buy $1.50, and this is the price of £1 expressed in dollars, i.e. the pound to dollar exchange rate. Let's look at some more examples from around the world. On this particular date, the price of £1 would be 1.35 euros, or 1.46 American dollars, or 2 Aussie dollars, or 97 rupees, or Canadian dollars, or so on and so on and so on and so on. So it's the price of one currency in terms of other currencies around the world. These are exchange rates. So let's imagine a scenario where the exchange rate, the pound-dollar exchange rate, was £1 is $1.50. Now if the value of the pound increased, so that £1 was now worth more, you would get $1.60 for your pound, we would say the value of the pound has gone up. And the key term we would use to describe this is an appreciation. If, however, £1 actually then only bought us $1.40, we would say the value of the pound has fallen compared to when it was at $1.50. Our pound is now worth less dollars, and in that situation, we would say the currency has depreciated. There has been a depreciation. Once you've taken these key terms down, let's move on. Let's have a look at the effect of exchange rate movements on businesses. But first of all, let's see what moves the exchange rate. What causes an exchange rate to change? Well, as we said earlier, an exchange rate is a price of a currency. And as we've learned in theme 1, the price of anything is determined by the forces of demand and supply. And this applies for exchange rates. So just like any commodity or product, oil or coffee, the price of a currency will reflect the amount of currency that consumers and businesses want to buy and sell. So when you go on holiday to Malia, you effectively take your pounds and you sell them, and you buy euros instead. So by doing that, you will have a small influence on demand and supply, and your increase in selling pounds would start the value of the pound against the euro to fall. You'd be causing a mini depreciation. So let's have a look at the effect of a strong pound. When the pound has a strong value, a high value, what is the effect on UK businesses? I'm going to say one word to you: spiced. A strong pound makes imports cheaper and exports dearer. Imports are products that we buy that come from abroad, and exports are products that are made here that we sell to customers abroad. So spiced is a good way to remember the impact of a strong pound. It makes imports cheaper and exports dearer. It's cheaper to pay for imports, and exports will seem more expensive to overseas customers. What's the effect of a weaker pound on UK businesses? Well, if I said the word Whipperdeck, it's not quite as catchy, but it does tell us the same information. A weaker pound makes imports dearer, more expensive, and exports cheaper. A weaker pound makes it more expensive to pay for imports, but exports will seem cheaper to overseas customers. Let's have a look at a worked example. Let's imagine the exchange rate is £1 to $2. And in UK, Jaguar are making cars, and the price of a Jaguar car is £40,000. If you were an American, how much would you pay for a Jaguar car in dollars? That's right, y'all. $80,000 would be how much you would need to pay for a car from the UK. Let's also look at an example of a US car maker, Chrysler, and their cars are priced at $25,000 in the USA, how much would you pay in the UK for a Chrysler car? How many pounds would you need to buy a car from the US? Well, at £1 to $2 exchange rate, you would need £12,500 to buy the car from Chrysler. Now we're going to imagine a scenario where we change the exchange rates, and we're going to see what happens to the prices of the cars. On the left hand side, let's imagine the exchange rate falls. It depreciates so that £1 is now only worth $1.50. What would be the impact on the American customer? How many dollars would they now need to buy a car from Jaguar? A Jaguar car would now cost the US buyer $60,000 rather than $80,000. Let's now look at the impact on the Chrysler car, but we're going to look at the impact here if the exchange rate appreciated, increased, so now a pound was worth $2.25 rather than just $2. How many pounds would you need now at this exchange rate to buy a car from Chrysler? You would need £11,111. So let's have a look. What would be the impact for our businesses? What would be the impact on Jaguar on the left hand side of a depreciation? Jaguar's cars were $80,000 in the US and now are $60,000. Are they going to sell more or less? They will probably sell more. The law of demand tells us that at a lower price, demand is higher. So the depreciation here, a lower exchange rate, is good news for our UK businesses trying to sell abroad. Let's have a look what's happened to our UK consumers, our UK customers. How much would you need to pay for a Chrysler? £12,500. And if the currency gets stronger, appreciates, you only need to pay £11,111. So if the currency gets stronger, it makes imports cheaper, so it's good news for customers. So depreciation is good news for exporters, and an appreciation is good news for importers. So let's have a look at the effects of appreciation and depreciation on businesses, not using examples but some theory. On the left hand side, if the value gets stronger, this is good for importers. If you're a business that imports raw materials or ready-made products from abroad, you can get them at a lower price, maybe increasing your profit margins or perhaps allowing you to cut prices here in the UK. It's bad news for exporters. Exports are more expensive, particularly if your products are price elastic. You might see a significant decline in sales revenue. So this poses a threat, generally speaking, to UK firms, particularly for UK exporters. What happens if the value of the pound falls on the right hand side? Well, this is a good opportunity for exporters. Firms can sell their products overseas for a lower price, and if demand is price elastic, then it's likely that sales revenue will increase and perhaps bigger profit margins. However, it's bad news for importers. If you import raw materials, components or goods, or you import oil as a key material, if the value of the pound depreciates, then this is going to have a negative effect potentially on your profit margins. So we've looked at what is meant by an exchange rate, the terms appreciation and depreciation, and the effect of exchange rate movements on businesses. That's all. Thank you.